Hi everyone. If you are planning to take a study abroad here in England, you will probably meet one of the oldest university students. Today, I join with Graham, 72 years old student taking Doctor of Philosophy degree here at the University of Leicester. Stay tuned. So guys, he started his PhD in 2016. He's the same intake with me. We are now in the 4th year of our PhD. And please tell me more about you.
Okay, well, after leaving school at 16, bummed around a little bit, but then at 17, joined the British Army. I joined as a private, trained as an aircraft engineer, and retired 30 years later as a major.
So you're a strong man anyway.
Thank you. After that, I had a very successful second career, mainly in pharmaceuticals and then latterly in aerospace, where I was responsible in a UK-wide role for looking after a whole number of aerospace sites, including Cambridge Airport. I retired just before I was 68.
In the age of no longer as a young people, then you take a PhD degree. What was your motivation taking this degree?
The motivation actually goes right back to, I said I left school at 16.
Okay.
To be more accurate, I was asked to leave school. I was expelled from school. I went to, in the UK we have grammar schools, which is the highest level of state school.
Yeah.
I was in grammar school, I was in the highest grade of class, but I was at the bottom of it, and I thought I was thick by that measure. And I was probably a bit too much trouble for the headmaster. And he said, go.
Troublemaker.
Yeah, you must leave. And so I left with very few qualifications. But it wasn't until I left and began to apply myself that I realised that actually I did have some intellect, and I wasn't anywhere near as thick as I thought I was. So here we are now, the age of 72, I'm about a year away from finishing PhD.
The next one we would like to know from you is about everybody understand that PhD is not an easy degree. How do you manage your study? How do you do your research, which is not an easy job?
Well, I think first of all that anything in life that's worth having, you have to put a bit of effort into it. I mean, it is not meant to be easy. You're getting the highest level of degree from an elite university. It's not meant to be easy, and it isn't easy. But it's about application and determination. Why do you want to do it? Before you set out on it, you must understand, why do you want to do this? And what will you have achieved when you have done it? If you've got those two things, the rest, frankly, is easy because you're working towards something for yourself.
Let's say in the very first period of your PhD, in your first year, what was you feel at that time starting your PhD?
The early part was actually very interesting because we did doctoral research training, which there's an element of, there's a taught element within that, and you're learning something new. But after 6 months, that paradise finishes. Then you realise actually the research is your own. You've got to concentrate on, what am I researching? What actually is the research question or the research objective? And how am I going to go about this? Now, the doctoral research training has given you the tools to be able to become a researcher. You've now, if you like, you're an apprentice researcher, so you've now got to get on and start using those tools. I think if we reflect back in the first year, you realise that yes, you might have been using the tools, but not in the right manner. For example, you might be using the screwdriver like a hammer.
I remember we took 4 courses in the first year, and we got assignments for each courses. How did you deal with the assignments? We had to prepare a paper, and then we need to submit assignments.
Again, this is early on. It's something that you had to do and something you had to pass. I have, going back to my background, having been expelled from school, and then realised subsequently that I wasn't anywhere near as thick as I was. I then set out that anything I did, I would have done to the best of my ability. Not necessarily I wasn't the best in the world, but I had to be the best that I could be. So for these assignments, that had to be the best. It wasn't enough just to pass.
Yeah.
I had to be the best that I could be at passing, which actually means read the exam question, do the research, answer the question.
You have a really high ambition. I mean, when it comes to me, that at that time I just wanted to pass the assignment, that this is probably my best effort to just pass these assignments. I know my capacity, so that would be really hard for me.
And there is nothing wrong with that, because you passed and I passed. We both passed and we both moved on from there. The thing is that can you stretch yourself? That all of this is a benefit. Let me put it a different way.
Okay.
We're going to the shops to get something. You can get in your car and pick it up and come home.
Yeah.
Or you could walk. And if you walk, it's harder, but you're actually getting physical benefit from that as well. Right. So coming back to the assignments, the more it was new ground, didn't know anything about, so the more you can learn about that, the better it is for you.
Yeah.
And that's why I went above and beyond what was needed just to pass. But the end result is the same.
Yeah. Back to your PhD journey. You have been doing your PhD for 3 years now, coming up for the 4th year. So my question is, what's the most challenging part of your PhD then?
It's taking on new concepts and realizing that this PhD is yours. It's nobody else's, that what you are researching is of great interest to yourself. It'll be of interest to other people, but it's of great interest to yourself, and that you are the one that needs to determine the path and what you are going to do and to actually get on and to do it. So unlike, say, if you were in a place of work, you've probably got somebody else, a manager of some sort, that says, do this, go there, do that. That's fairly straightforward. You're given direction. It's becoming self-directed is probably the biggest challenge.
Yeah. So you have to organize everything by yourself, you're planning by yourself, you're doing by yourself, and then, let's say, criticize yourself.
Yes, I mean, obviously you do have supervisors to fall back on, but it's you that comes up with the plan.
Well, this is really interesting about your supervisors, because every PhD student, they will have a supervisor or pair of supervisors. How do you create a good relationship between you and your supervisors?
In my case, they're very definitely younger than me. In fact, they're young enough to be my children.
It's not only younger.
Yes, the point is, what is the relationship? And that, yes, they are a supervisor, but they're not your manager. They are there to advise and support you, but frankly you need to be working to the point where you are on an equal footing with them, and actually you should get to a point where you know more about your research than the supervisor does. You're working to a point where you are getting close to being self-sufficient. To the point, you will always need your supervisor, you need another pair of eyes to look at what you are doing, but you've got to work your way out from being dependent on them.
Independent researcher.
Yes.
Okay. What else about your relationship with your supervisors?
To me, the key thing that you should always bear in mind that this is not really, it's not a pupil-teacher relationship. It might have elements of that right at the beginning, because there are areas you're completely unfamiliar with, but they're there to advise you. If you're going to act as the pupil, you've got the wrong relationship with your supervisor. It's an adult relationship.
The research is yours, and your supervisor is advising you, is supervising you, giving you a suggestion for your research, but all the jobs are yours.
Correct.
And the next one I would like to know about your PhD journey is about effort to do all of these research jobs. When it comes to me as a young man, it's really hard to keep me motivated, to keep my energy, to keep my effort to do all of these things. How about you?
Well, I'm going to give you a very simplistic answer.
Okay.
You want a PhD. There's a reason you want a PhD.
Yeah.
All right? And therefore, that is your motivation. Why do you want to get there?
This degree.
The effort is irrelevant. Nobody is going to give you a PhD without any effort, unless you spend $10,000 buying one from the US, which is worthless. So, yes, there are times when you don't particularly want to do it on a particular day.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like that. What I do in particular, I have a 3-month plan, day by day, 3 months in advance. I know what I need to have achieved each day. And within that, there will be days where I'm not doing anything. But I measure my progress against that. And if I fall behind, then I know I've got to work to catch up. Otherwise, I'm not going to achieve what I set out to achieve. It doesn't give you energy, it gives you motivation and allows you to keep on track.
So you have a certain target within the
but it's a 3-month horizon. It's a moving 3 months.
Yeah.
But it's day by day.
That's really good. I haven't even had this kind of scheduling.
Really, buddy. But it's self-discipline.
Yeah, that's true. And the last one I'd like to ask you about your PhD journey is about what's your expectation actually taking this degree? I mean, for me or for young people, taking PhD is for building career.
2 different answers to that. I mean, first of all, on a personal level, this is my personal Everest. So this is something I need to achieve in my life. I'm not going to go on to an academic career or anything like that afterwards. I would expect that to get published.
Published, that's great.
And I may well be able to do some ad hoc or part-time supervising other graduate students. But
that's still academic career then?
It's not going to be a career. It will earn me some money.
Okay.
Yes, but this is an achievement in my life. I understand that for most people, younger and they're doing a PhD, they want to do something with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's say most of the PhDs, they are trying to do something exceptional. Their research will be the base of their future career. What it comes to you?
Well, this to me, this is a measure of what I've achieved in life.
It's your achievement.
It's an achievement, yeah. One of my measurements of achievement. How do I identify myself?
So it's your self-achievement, so try to develop your own branding, let's say. This is me.
Correct.
Really exceptional, everyone. His motivation should motivate you to take any degree of study. Undergraduate degree is not enough for him, master degree is not enough, and even now he's taking a PhD degree. And this is really exceptional for the elderly, let's say. But it's really inspiring for me that I have a lot of problem for myself doing PhD, but when I have a really inspiring friend like him, encourage me to develop myself, to be better, to be self-motivated. Well, Graham, have you any final comment for this chat?
I think first of all, why do you want to do a PhD? That's important. It's personal to you. You don't necessarily need to share it to anybody, but you need to know why you're doing it. And I think you also need to accept that you're going to have to make some sacrifices along the way to achieve that. But it's not all your life. It's a short period of your life where you're working towards achieving the highest degree qualification you can get. And that launches you into the next stage of your life, whatever that may be.
Great. That's the only word I can say for him, for Graham. Thanks for having me. We have started together, so we hope we will be finishing this together as well.
Thank you.
If you like this video, simply hit the like button and consider subscribing. Thank you for having us today, and see you again. Bye.